Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube live stream. And this time we're doing a Q&A, plus I've got some music production tips also. So I'm going to be doing like 3 or 4 questions and then I'll get to the tips and back to the questions and we keep doing that. So I have 5 tips here and I'll be giving them as like individual topics and stuff. And I'll explain each and every topic. And let's do this. It's been a while since we did this YouTube live stream. So let's see how many people have come as yet. I think there's around 6 people right now. Hey Sandeep, no demo session today on YouTube at least. I can only do demo sessions on my Facebook because otherwise all the tracks which I play will get copyrighted and stuff. And then, oh yeah, I forgot I can just look at the questions right here. Hey Keeb, hey GB Gaming, hey the Garrix Nation, hey Movie Nation, hey Pro Intro, hey Rohit. Damn, there's so many people. I didn't expect so many people to turn up so fast. Waiting for some questions, then I'll start answering them. So I'll do like maybe 2 to 3 questions, and then I'll do one tip, and then I'll do another 2 3 questions, and I'll do another tip, and that's how we'll keep rolling it, I guess. Hey Aditya, hi Sachin, and Sanche. I think that's how you pronounce that. Hey Manav, I see you. I hope the quality is good, by the way. I have no clue how this is showing up on your screen, so yeah, let me know if the quality is good. I'll be on here for about half an hour or so, I guess. Because that should be a good enough time. So that the people who come and watch this later on, uh, you know, get a chance to just see it as a normal video. And it's not like a 1 hour long kind of video. So finally, we have our first question from Keeb. Keeb is like an amazing guy. He goes and like listens to every single Future House track there is. You'll see him in the comment section almost all the time. So anyways, so his question is, how do you process your kicks? Like how do you make them so punchy in your tracks? So yeah, well, I don't really process them that much. I compress my kick a little bit, and then beyond that is just really good side chaining. And sorry, I think I have to like pop this chat out because otherwise like, this just going by so fast. Yeah, so good side chaining is like really key to getting your kick to stand out more. And I think I figured that out. I use Gross Beat and the what is that plugin called? The peak controller. So I use both of them, and depends on the track. If it's more progressive, then I end up using the peak controller. If it's more like future house ish, then I use the gross beat, and it's different for like the sounds which have high frequencies and different for low frequencies, because the side chain that way will sound better and more like bouncy, at least for house music, that is. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Keep. So next question. Oh man, there's so many people. I can't say hi to everyone, but hi to whoever's come here out of the 24 people who I didn't expect to pop up, but cool. So I'm searching for the next question. By Seb. What do you do to promote your tracks? So, to promote my tracks, I mostly use my Facebook page, my SoundCloud, and of course YouTube itself. And mostly I built a bunch of like really cool connections with people online itself who help me like to literally repost my tracks on SoundCloud, and to show it to more like artists and maybe channels which will promote that music. So basically, I made a bunch of friends online, and they're not like really close friends or anything. They're just online friends who happen to have liked my music because I worked for so long, and like the future house music which I made kind of worked well in that community. So those people thought about like this guy's doing a great job, and they want willing to support my music. So there is no other thing which I really do other than literally releasing my music and then sending it out to a bunch of friends who have bigger outlets and bigger followers maybe, and they kind of repost it, and that's how I kind of promote my track as of now. I hope it gets bigger in the future, which I hope that kind of answers your question. So final question, not for the live stream, but final question before I get to one of the music production tips. So sorry. So Supriyo, how was your Holi? So in case you guys don't know what Holi is, at least some of my audience, it's a Indian festival where you kind of play with a lot of color and stuff. So yeah, I'm not gonna go in depth with that. So yeah, it was great. It was great. It was lots of fun. So yeah, now we're gonna move on to the first tip, and then we'll get back to questions. So don't worry, and I've got all your questions. So we're going in order. There'll be no rush. Don't worry if you don't need to keep on commenting your question because I will read it eventually. So the first tip for the live stream is to be unique. Oh, I shouldn't cover my face there. Yeah. So it's to be unique, and I've put this as the first tip because I feel like a lot of producers miss out on the fact that you have to be unique. You get so carried away trying to just do what others are doing, and it's not like intentionally. It's like naturally. When you're creating music in the beginning, you do end up copying or being very influenced by the artist you really like, and you miss out on being unique. So I would say go out there, make your own sounds, tweak with presets if you're not like confident enough to make a sound by yourself, which is actually quite a tricky process altogether. But tweak presets, those are kind of easier to do and kind of get into, making your own sound. And then on top of that, try to combine different sounds together to make something different, because that's the only way you're going to end up growing, and people are actually going to look towards you and say, he's doing something different and I'm kind of liking this new sound which he has here. So that way, at least it helped me in my career to kind of grow and build my music careers to just by doing something slightly out of the box. You do have to kind of make something which people will like, so you got to find that right balance. But I think it's very key that you need to start like using different sounds and stuff. So the reason I said this as the first point is because a lot of producers miss out on just doing that, and I've heard so many demos come in lately which just sounds like the stuff which is already out there. So yeah, that was my first point, and I hope that kind of helps a few of you guys. Don't worry, there's another four more points left, so we're gonna get back to questions and then we go move on to another point. And let me know if you find this like entertaining. I don't know, maybe for the people who are not into music production, may not be that entertaining, but let's see how it goes from here onwards. And let me know if you want me to do this again in a similar fashion. So, alright, next question. Zoom, which laptop you use for producing? So at the moment I'm using I forgot which laptop this is. It's a Samsung laptop. I don't remember the model and everything, but it's just a simple Samsung laptop. It's the one with the JBL speaker. So if you can find that, I think there's only one kind of speaker which has that. So yeah, it's that one, and I'm using that for producing. I feel like I should do more questions and then two more tips. So okay, we'll do maybe 4 to 5 questions this time, and then we'll move on to the next tip. Okay, so computer. Okay, wait. Okay, that's not a question. Compressed kick, good side chaining, grow speed, peak controller. Yeah, that pretty much sums up the first question which I answered. Anyways, so how do you, from DJ Ash, how do you use and promote your Spotify even though it's not available in India? You do not need to be, as in Spotify doesn't have to be available in India for you to put your music on there, because you have distributors abroad who can do that for you, and that's exactly what I do. So yeah, don't worry about like, why am I saying don't worry? So I'm saying you can actually push your music to Spotify and stuff through a distributor. It doesn't matter if it's not available in India as yet, because people abroad can still listen to your music. So yeah, that's how that's done. Um, can you play some unreleased songs? I wish I could play some unreleased songs, but I haven't copyrighted most of them as yet. So that's the main issue, but I would have put them otherwise. I did think about it, but then I was like, it'll take so much time to copyright it that it just didn't make sense. So, but don't worry, there is a track coming out this month, in the next probably week or 10 days or less. Who knows? But it's coming soon. Okay, so next question. Oh, Jesus, there's so many questions here. Okay, let's see if I can get to all of them slowly. Okay, so the next question is here, Chaitanya Vora. How do you make the drop sound full? And how do you use those? How do you fill those empty places? So, yeah, I mean, I think I've got that in one of my tips already. So, I might skip that one, but don't worry, Chaitanya, I'll get back to it because it's anyways coming in the production tips. So just stay tuned and you'll get your answer anyways. So we'll move on to the next question because the question he asked was already a part of a tip which I'm gonna be telling you. So that's cool also. Next question by Pankaj. Which plugin did you use to make your own unique sound? I use Silent a lot. Silent is like one of the greatest plugins I've seen because you can do so many things with it and so many different sounds. It kind of blew me away, including the fruit juice sound, which is what people say is my unique sound. I mean, I guess I have many different unique sounds, but that is my most recognized sound. So that is also made through Silent and just more effects and stuff. All right, so we'll get to the next question. Uh, which producers do you go to for inspiration for your music? By Keep, this is. So, well, I go to so many different musicians to kind of get inspired by them and create more music, which is, based on what they have made me hear from, their amazing production skills. So lately I've been listening to like brass tracks, which is like unusual because it's like kind of electronic, but also like pop and jazz-ish and R&B. So brass tracks are a big inspiration to me at the moment. K Tronada is doing some really good stuff, so I've been into his music also a lot. And just to put it out there, one of my favorite songs right now is this song called "Turn Off the Lights" by Chris Lake, and I think Belton Vezel featured it in their this thing in their radio show as the first song. So that's how I kind of heard it. So yeah, that's my producers for right now, who's given me inspiration for my music at the moment. But other than that, there's so many. There's like Kirby, Mesto, all these guys for Future House and stuff, and of course like Xiaomi and stuff. All right. So next question is okay. There's a couple of repeat questions here. I'm pretty sure you guys can see it in your comment sections too. So whatever, I'm gonna skip the repeat ones. How much how much you leave headroom in your mix? Okay, so I don't really focus that much on my mix. I don't go into the technicalities too much. I know as a producer I should, but I leave barely any headroom in most of my tracks. I leave a little bit just so that it doesn't have like noise when it's on SoundCloud and YouTube, which it does end up getting anyways. So that's a downer for me because I'm still trying to figure out the headroom stuff myself. But yeah, I pretty much do it by ear, most of it. I just try to get it as good as possible and not think too much about the technicalities because I think just by listening to it, you can pretty much figure out majority of things. And I think a lot of producers do that themselves. So yeah, where should we do another tip and then get back to? Okay, fine. I'll do one last question, then we're going to the second tip. All right, so GB Gaming, how long it took you to find your own sound? Well, so if we take maybe, well, I kind of found different sounds by, I think, when I made like Tubes and Vitality. Those were the first two Future House songs which I kind of released, which were like the beginning for me in Future House. So finding that took me probably like at least 4 years before I actually came to something which was unique. Before that, it was before that it was just kind of make stuff which is already out there. Then that's hence why my first tip was to be unique because I realized if I would have just tried to be more unique from the beginning. I always used to have a mindset about being unique, but you can never just pull it off. It's a really hard thing to just pull off just being unique. So it did take me a couple of years, but it somehow like clicks in your head, and gradually, like just practice makes you better. So that's exactly what happened with me. So yeah, now we're gonna move on to the second tip, and then we'll be back to questions. So the second tip is about mixing. Now, with mixing, you have to develop a really good ear to kind of analyze, the volume levels and stuff, and that kind of just takes time. There's no particular like formula to understand mixing. You can go like really technical about it, but end of the day, you're gonna find a different, project every single time. Every single song you make will have different mixing qualities, which you can't standardize. So I know a lot of people ask me, how do you get your mix down so good? How do you do all that? So, and I find it really hard to explain because it's just something which got wired into me while I was just practicing so much. So my main tip for like mixing is that just keep developing your ear to understand what's going on your song, and keep things very simple in your head. Like if you have a bunch of sounds, highlight some sounds, don't highlight some sounds, make them complement each other. Just don't make it too complex in your head. Just think about it as a very simplistic process. And I think that's how I wired myself into thinking that mixing was slightly easier, because you don't wire your head into thinking that there's a bunch of stuff which you just need to make it fit. Rather, you approach it in a sense that there is already a bunch of stuff and they already fit, and come up with the concept in your head beforehand. I don't know if I'm making myself clear or confusing people more, but um, yeah, I know it's a really vague tip to kind of just say to have a good year, because that's like standard in music. But yeah, a lot of people have been asking me about how do I get my mix down like this and that, and it's really hard to explain because it's all done by ear. And if you ask any producer out there, they'll also tell you the same, that it just requires more practice, and you just got to keep EQing, tweaking the volume levels, adding the effects, and gradually you will find this wholeness. And it comes through practice, don't worry. If you hear my old projects, you'll see I used to suck at mixing, but I became much better at it now, of course. So yeah, that was the second tip, and now we got three more to go, and we're back to questions. And I'm really sorry, there's so many questions. I hope I don't miss out, but we're already almost like 17 minutes in. So I am kind of contemplating whether to go for about 45 minutes. But anyways, let's not waste time. So where was I? Right here. Some repeat questions are there. There's so many repeat questions. Okay. Don't worry, I see everyone out here. So, and yeah, I'm not checking demos unfortunately for the new guys who've just come in. I'm just answering questions and giving you guys production tips for the producers out there. So, Sachin, why don't you make videos for your tracks? Like music videos, because well, I could make a budget and kind of make a full music video, but it doesn't make sense right now. Let me get slightly bigger, then I'll start moving on to those kind of projects. And if I have a label, then they'll have a budget for the music video. So I'm just waiting for that basically. In genres like future house, how how to make the lead stand out among those powerful basses. So yeah, this is a kind of a hard way to like put it through, but basically like when you as long as you're separating the frequencies properly, and this will be there in one of the tips which I'm going to be saying next, as long as you're managing the frequencies between the lead sound and the bass, it'll sound perfectly fine. And that has a lot to do with like side chaining in future house, which means as long as the side chaining's good, the kick's good, it goes along with the bass, and then you have your lead sounds. um, in the next point, I'll tell you how to make that lead sound so full. So I will get to that. Whose question was that? Let me just check. So Jakib, if that's how you pronounce it. So I will be getting to that. I'll be answering your question in more detail in my next tip. So stay tuned for the next few questions to get your answer. So, all right. So next question is by the Hulk Cat. Hey man, do you think the track should be lengthy or it should be on to the point? Okay, from what I can understand, is what you're trying to say is should it be a long song or should it just be a short song which has everything in it, like a pop song? So, kind of depends on what direction you want to go with. Either way works. Something like Strobe by Dead Mouse is a lengthy track, but still is one of his most popular tracks out there. So, I would say go either way. Just see how the project comes to you. I mean, yeah, you can go literally either way. In fact, many of the classical songs, which like very old classical songs, are very very long. So nothing you can it's like a 50-50. So yeah. Do you mix in mono or stereo? I do mix in stereo most of the times because it has a more fuller experience as compared to mono, which is like just one, um, one. I don't know what do you call it. There's like no fullness to it, so I do kind of mix in stereo most of the times. Um, Requirements for a potential collab. So yeah, many people want to keep collabing with me, and I for the reason why I haven't like collaborated with anyone as yet is because I'm looking to collaborate physically with the person. I don't feel comfortable collaborating over the net. It's just too much of a all over the place kind of project, because if you're collaborating with the person, you want to sit with them, share your ideas on the spot, and come up with melodies, make the sounds and stuff. And that's how, I think of collaboration. So, yeah, that's so requirements is for the person to be physically there with me and for me to actually want to collaborate with the person. And that is like, should have the same kind of not same, but maybe similar kind of music which I'm doing and open to like collaborating with me with my kind of style. So yeah, other than that, there's not much requirements. If you make any genre, that doesn't matter. You can collaborate with literally any other musician. So yeah, the next question after that also is the same one: how to get a collab with me. So I already answered that now. Okay, so Zoom, any one of your mixing secrets, please. So I don't think I have any mixing secrets because, as I said in my previous point, which is that I do most of it by ear. So a secret could be. Damn, I can't think of anything. It's just so much I do by ear that there's nothing technical about what I do. I guess I don't know. I'll get back to you if I get some secret in my mind. But I just do so many things based on my ears that I don't have a technical answer for you for that. Sorry. I hope I get it in some time. But anyways, Keeb, how do you make your melodies? Is it something you have in your head and then put it on a piano roll, or is it more experimental? So that's a good question. It is most sometimes it's in my head only, and sometimes it's like I'll be making. Actually, it's always in my head. What am I saying? But when I'm actually working on a project, then it gradually comes to me like the melody. And in many cases, I've actually hummed out the melody on my phone and then put it on the piano roll. Since I can't play any instrument, um, that's my way of kind of coming up with melodies is just by humming it. So yeah, that's a very effective technique for me, and I think for many other producers around the globe. So yeah, it is something mostly in my head, and I end up recording my voice and then kind of replicating it. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Zoom. Uh, I'm not gonna answer that question, but alright, fine. You wanna try drugs? No, I have had like alcohol and stuff, but yeah, not trying drugs like hardcore drugs as such. If it's illegal, then I'm definitely not trying it. Anyways, so Suresh, how can I send my demo to you? So yeah, you guys can send me demos at promo@aneeshchengappa.com. I won't be checking demos right now, so don't get confused with that. I'll be checking those later on, but yeah, if you want me to listen to a track or some project you're working on, then you can send it there. Can't guarantee a reply since I get so many emails these days, but I'll try my best to kind of reply if I need to. So next, wow, this is a long question. What what to do if the track is sounding in front, even if the stereo separation is done properly while comparing it to reference track? My track sounded more in front, so what can I do now? Well, it's not generally supposed to do that. Once you've added a stereo, like there is this shaper in FL, which you can do actually. If you use the stereo shaper, in most cases it does push it to the left and right. Other than that, the sound itself, if it's mono, then I guess that has something to do with it. But maybe you're just getting confused because if you're if you're separating the stereo properly, then it gets done with the simplest plugins. So yeah, Chaitanya. Yeah, I'm skipping questions which I do not want to answer. Okay, so Chaitanya, do you mix different presets to create your own sound, use or you use your own sound, your own designing? Oh Jesus, I think I'm having a seizure. All right, so yeah, I'm not. I'm actually going to be answering that question with the next tip because that's a good segue to it. So the next tip is layering. Now this tip is really key if you want your song to sound really full. Now to answer your question, Chaitanya, is that yes, in most cases, it's actually both sometimes, which is that I will create my own unique sound by pooling on together a bunch of sounds, or I would create my own sound and then have other sounds just complement it. So it can go both ways. Now, with layering, the points which I wanted to kind of tell you, producers out there, is that layering not necessarily means that you need to throw a bunch of stuff and it'll just fit together. It's a really complicated process, and you just, again, it's all based on you hearing it properly. And with layering, you got to understand that EQing has to be done properly when you're layering a bunch of sounds on top of each other, because if you have two high frequency sounds together, they are going to clash and distort. So you rather not do that. You want them, or not, sorry, not do that. I'm saying you should separate those high frequencies, give them each a little bit of space on the spectrum so they both have a way of highlighting. So they are like complementing each other rather than fighting for space in the track. And I know, I wish I could explain this any better than that, but yeah, layering is very important if you want your song to sound really full. And definitely go ahead, just try to put things together, try to, use different sounds, put them, pile them up together and see what works. Remove one sound, put one sound, just keep doing that, and then you'll eventually find like this one whole group of sound which will just sound full, even though it sounds like one sound to everyone else. Layering is really effective, especially if you want those mids, because the mids is something really important and really adds to the fullness of the track. So layering completely does that for you, which is give you the nice density of mids in your song. So yeah, that was my third point, and we got two more to go. I'm just gonna check the time. Let's see how much it's been since we started the live stream. It's been about 26 minutes, which is good. Okay, wow, okay, I've lost myself in the comments. But yeah, Chaitanya, I hope that answers your question also. And you can actually layer by just using a plugin. In fact, using oscillators is a sense of like kind of like layering itself. If you use like three, four different oscillators, for example, like in silent, there's four oscillators. So, and there's part B and part A. So you can use both of them, and that's kind of like layering itself. So that's why a lot of sounds in silent by themselves are kind of full. But yeah, you can layer a bunch of silence on top of each other to make things sound more full. So yeah, now let's move on to the next question if I can find it. I scroll down too fast. Um, Jesus, how do I find the next question now? I'm really sorry. I'm just trying to. Found it. All right. It'll be really hard to get to every single question. I'll try my best because I will have to stay for I think for till 45 minutes at least if I want to get through some. So yeah, do you make a living off music stuff? Okay, yeah, USB jack. I not really a living, I would say, but I do make a good amount of money from it. I still live with my parents, so yeah, I'm not currently making a living off of it, but yeah, I am earning a good amount of money from it and saving it up for the future. So next question: do you mix your songs differently for SoundCloud? No, although I do want to start doing that because the SoundCloud just has some really weird encoding stuff going on and it really distorts your sound. I haven't been doing that at the moment because it's another process just to kind of fix that and remove all those. They have a specific word for it, I forget what it's called. Anyways, so I basically remove that distortion bit which is there, the desampling stuff which happens on SoundCloud. Most people don't even hear it, but producers definitely hear that stuff. So next one is, don't you think dystopia is somewhat similar to Face It? No, actually, they're completely different tracks. Face It is more like electro house, more intense, and dystopia is more like future house and like underground kind of bass sounds. And yeah, I have used similar sounds, not similar actually, just one sound, which is that, kind of helicopter kind of sound. I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, that sound has been there in the build up. But other than that, it's not there in the drops. So the drops are completely different. So yeah, next question from Mehraj. I think that's how you pronounce your name. Um, but music distributors take money to upload your music in Spotify. Is there any way to upload your music? So there are ways to upload your music on Spotify for free. There are platforms which will take like a 30% commission or some stuff like that and give you the 70% or whatever. They'll have some percentage stuff. And in that case, you can get your music out there for free. And of course, they'll have their criteria to take you in, to allow you to do that. But like you will have to have like a specific amount of plays or something like that in order to get that. So yeah, there are platforms. Go and search it on Google. There's like forget what that's called. There's so many platforms. Yeah, you can definitely upload your music on Spotify without paying, but then you do give up a certain percentage of the revenue you might earn from the track. So that's the other thing. Like if you pay for your music and it gets onto the platform and you earn money from it, then there are platforms like TuneCore and stuff which give you 100% of the revenue just because you're paying to anyways get the music on there. So yeah. Um, Prajwal, Anish, you produce super music? Why don't you get signed to a big label? So I am waiting. If I get a request from a big label, I'll definitely take that opportunity, and it's bound to happen. I guess I'm just not. I have been sending it to labels, but not hearing back as yet. But I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty confident that the next few tracks which I'm going to be releasing should get a good amount of attention. Maybe if not from labels, at least from artists and stuff. So yeah, look out for my music coming out in the next few days. I don't have a precise release date as yet, but it is coming pretty soon. So stay tuned. And next question. So Ishan, just one main question. Why do you use the same elements in all your tracks? I mean, most of the samples, as the kick, snap, and the arrangement, etc., are mostly the same in mostly all of your tracks. So there are a bunch of similar sounds here and there, but there are a bunch of different sounds also. So if you hear the drop and stuff, it's almost always different. If you hear like Netizen is very different from Fruit Juice or from Tipple or Face It or I don't know, Metro, Time. If you hear all of the tracks, every track will have maybe some one similar element, but other than that, all the sounds are different. So I would say just listen more carefully to my music because I actually aim to make every track slightly different than the other. They do have similar elements, I'm not saying they don't. Sometimes they do, like piano, of course, is something I do have very often in my songs. Um, Even Rhodes, and of course my fruit juice pluck sound, which I purposely put in there so that people know that This is that's my most popular track, so that's why I keep introducing that sound in every other track. But it sounds so different. I mean, its whole vibe is so different in every other track. It doesn't have that fruit juicy vibe in every track that I make. So yeah, I mean, I don't use the same elements, that's for sure. Arrangement, maybe a little bit here and there, is the same. Yeah, I can agree to that. And yeah, the kick and the snaps. So the snaps is another unique thing which I keep doing because I really like that snap, and I think that's a part of it's become a part of me now. So yeah, and the kick is a wrong thing because yeah, I have used similar kicks, but they're not all the same. So yeah, I think you just have to listen carefully. They do sound similar, definitely, but they're not the same kicks. Especially like Netizen is a completely different kick as compared to all the other projects. But yeah, anyways, you will see a massive difference from the project which are going to be coming now. So anyways, you won't be complaining anymore. You'll clearly see the difference in the coming few projects which I have. But anyways, I'm gonna move on to the next question. And I'm really sorry. I'm trying to get to every single question and do the tips part. So we're gonna do one more question and then get back to doing one more tip, and then we'll get back to more questions, I guess. Um, so keep being unique is probably the best advice, but it's also the hardest. Takes a long time to get there, but once you do, you will go far. Yeah, definitely. Being unique is really hard, but yeah, Keeb, you're totally right. As once you get there, you definitely probably will go far. If you see it from any other musician, that's exactly what they did. A good example is like Skrillex, who literally did something totally out of the box and became huge. All right, so next question. I'm trying to find uh, Yoganan. Oh no, that's totally wrong pronounced. Yog Yoganath. Yogan Yoganathan. All right, that's it. Jesus. All right. So what are your go-to tools for mixing? So I go for like EQs, sometimes compression, and so mixing in this sense. What I mean is not mastering. I mean separate sounds. What I use on my separate sounds. So I use the EQs. I use compression. I do sometimes add the sound goodizer because sound goodizer has this thing which kind of opens the sound up somehow. So that's a pretty cool thing. I think a lot of producers do that. So yeah, sound goodizer. A lot of times I have reverb on it, and yeah. Other than that, depending on whether I need it or not, I have a delay and all the other kind of effects. But yeah, mostly the main tools which are like kind of mastering ish are the EQ and the compressor, and sometimes the reverb is also involved in that. So yeah, now we're gonna do the fourth point, and this is kind of a good segue also, the question you just asked, because the fourth tip is equalization. Now in EQ, a lot of people mess up, especially beginner producers, because they don't understand what EQing is. What is it supposed to mean? Like what am I supposed to do with highs, mids, and lows? And people just keep repeating this highs, mids, and lows and make them better. Some, take some out, put some. So the confusion here is a lot when it comes to EQ. So maybe to put it in a simpler way, so that you guys can understand it if you're just starting out or like a middle or like moderate producer, is to kind of EQing is basically to give space to every single sound which you have in your project. So whether it be the kick or the clap or lead synths or complementing sounds, whatever it is, those have to be EQ'd in the right way so that each one of those sounds have space. Now you can kind of combat not EQing too much by doing volume levels, but there will be a point where you will want to EQ so that you can get some of those higher like high frequencies in there. And of course, when you're like making lead sounds which you don't require the bass in, you got to remove the low end because that will just unnecessarily cause um what do you call it, wouldn't say distortion, but yeah, some sort of like background rumble in some sense, if you can understand. So yeah, make sure you're removing those low frequencies from your lead sounds if you don't need them. And when you're doing your the bass sounds, make sure you're rolling off the highs, because those also end up interfering with the lead sounds. So the main idea is basically to give every sound a bit of space in every frequency, and that way it'll balance out, and that's how you'll get more clarity. And that is also kind of works with mixing also, because you got to mix and EQ at the same time in some sense. So you take down a little bit of volume, you can add a little bit of volume, and then you fiddle with the frequencies, and that's how you'll get the fullness to your track and have clarity too. So yeah, I'm just kind of saying this. I know it's a very hard and technical process, but I hope you've understood what I'm trying to say. And the main idea is just to keep a very simple concept in your head, is to give space to every single sound using the EQ. You can literally, without knowing anything about EQing, just listen and tweak around with the EQ and understand what I'm saying. So yeah, maybe that will give you a better, um, ideology behind it. So yeah, that was the fourth point, and we're getting back to questions now. And we have only one last point, which I think is a really cool point because it's quite different from any of the other points which I've said. So yeah, now questions. Um, oh gosh, there's so many comments. Just trying to go through all of them. Are you supported by Oliver Eldens? Are you also supported by Hell Leap Records? No, Abhinav, I'm not supported by Oliver Eldens as yet, but he did end up recognizing one of my songs, which is Vitality, one of my oldest songs. And he ended up downloading it, but he didn't do anything after that. So I'm guessing he just heard it, and that's why I said I got recognized by him, but not supported as yet. Alright, so next question. Hulkat, how many tracks you have made till this time, including unreleased tracks for the start? Um, okay, so you mean how many tracks have I made altogether, basically? So I've made, Jesus, a lot of tracks. That means I started long back, so it's been almost 10 years since I started. I must have made at least close to 6,000 projects by now, but the majority of them never, caught the light of day because I didn't feel they were worthy enough. But I used to have a lot of music on my YouTube and my SoundCloud and everything. Oh Jesus, I think I messed up the camera. No, we're good. So yeah, I used to have a lot of my old music there. I did end up switching profiles and switching DJ names and stuff. So during that process, all those songs which I released that time, I just kind of took them down, and they, like, now they're not here anymore. But one of my oldest and first songs is still there, which is called Wonderland, right? Yeah, can't remember my old song. Yeah, so it's called Wonderland, and that was also not my first track as such, but it was my first track which I released on like YouTube and SoundCloud and stuff. So yeah, my first S track, I don't know. I don't know what I did with that track because I was just messing around. Probably kept it somewhere and never released it because I never kind of understood like social media and how to like promote and do all that kind of stuff properly. But yeah, anyways, I hope that answers your question. Next question is, um, I'm trying to go through comments at the same time, read questions. So let me see if I can find another question. Do you use any sound packs, or you start from an initial preset? Um, well, sound packs is a different thing. You could say sound like presets maybe. So yeah, I sometimes end up starting with the initial preset and then going from there and making the sounds and doing all that other stuff. But yeah, I sometimes do end up using sound packs. Mostly sound packs, I would say, for samples, not for presets. Presets are usually already there in like silence and stuff, so I sometimes end up tweaking those presets. But in most cases, I've made the sound, and it's not really that hard. I realized once you start doing it on your own, um, you start to realize how much more easier it starts to get to kind of bring the concept which is in your head to onto your laptop. And just by fiddling around and kind of just using all the things Silent has, you can achieve whatever you want. So that's why I like that plugin so much. And there are, of course, so many other plugins which do similar things like Massive and etc. So yeah. Um, Next question is, Anish, I noticed you didn't collab with other producers too much, which is fair enough. Are collaborations with producers in scope of what you want to do? Yes. So I do want to collaborate. I did get a previous question as to why I have not done so many collaborations, or rather, that why wouldn't I collab with that person? So I do want to collaborate, but I'm just waiting like for the right moment, and at the same time I'm looking for that physical presence of the person to actually physically work with the person and come up with a really cool idea. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of waiting for. But I'm not against collaboration at all. It's just you can't really see it on my profile because I haven't found anyone I could physically work with and have the same kind of um, you know understanding of music, or the level of understanding as I have at the moment. And that's, I'm talking physically. Obviously, on the net, there's so many producers out there who probably have much higher music like mentality than I do. But yeah, so the next question is just trying to find the next question. I can see Keem is like just having a full on conversation with some other person. I can't go through all of them though. Let's see. So, how are you mastering your songs for SoundCloud? I'm not. I'm just mastering my songs for like iTunes, Spotify, all those platforms, and SoundCloud is. I've just been like really bugged about SoundCloud and trying to master specifically for it. I might do it in the future, but yeah, I'm not doing anything as of now. How do you control transient peaks in your songs? So I do use a compressor and I do limit my song at the end. So yeah, that's how I kind of control those peaks altogether. And with EQing and all those things, you can kind of control all those peaks pretty well. You just need to be listening properly. Okay, so next question. What do you think is the best effect plugin and the best generator plugin? This is by Vulcan Music. So the best effect plugin. There's so many good plugins. But one of the coolest plugins I would say is the Blue Glitch, which I think a lot of people find a cool plugin. So yeah, that's a really cool plugin. Other than that, yeah, then you want the generator. So generator I've already said, which is Silent, is one of my favorite plugins out there. So yeah, those are the two plugins, and I hope that answers your question. So Apnal, why aren't you on tour? Yeah, I'm still waiting for more shows to come in. I guess it takes its own time, and the music industry is a bit like that. You just got to be patient. So yeah, once I'm just gonna keep releasing music, and let's see if I get recognized by some other big artist, then I can get more shows, or maybe get signed to a label and then get more shows or something like that. So next question is by Myro. How can I get the special rhythm flow between bass and melody in future house slash bounce? Um, to get the special rhythm. So yeah, I mean it is a tricky process. I also kind of struggle with it sometimes, but I guess as you keep hearing other projects and you get influenced by them, just take those ideas and kind of you'll be improvising, and that's how I kind of get my ideas. And that is a good segue to the next point. So I think I should get to the next point and then we'll get back to the questions. Don't worry. Oh man, I should stop scrolling. The moment I scroll, almost like 50 other comments pop up out of nowhere. So I gotta go a little bit slower so I don't miss people here. Alright, got it. So, and how much time has it been? I think it's been around 50 minutes. Yeah. Okay, so the fifth point and the last point is the subconscious ideas. Now, this final point is slightly different, and it's really important when it's like comes to like creativity and being productive. So when you have like most of the ideas which you have to make your song, and like the best ideas which I feel, when my best ideas have come from the subconscious part of my mind. It's not when I'm like consciously trying to make a really cool track. It's like suddenly out of nowhere my mind will come up with this rhythm or this melody which has, I don't know, somehow connected either with my soul. I don't know, this is getting a bit spiritual now, but that's how I kind of come up with the best ideas, is when it's literally very subconscious. I don't know how it kind of works in your brain and how all that happens, but I know that some of the most the ideas which I've personally really connected with are the subconscious ones. So my point with this tip is to kind of tell you to kind of try to tune into that subconscious part of your mind. When you find it hard to find melodies and kind of consciously force yourself, which kind of never works, like at least for me, I've sometimes it does end up working that you force yourself to come up with an idea. But if you're really not in the mood and your mind really doesn't want to tune into it, then it never comes through properly. And it's just stressful because you're like, you feel incapable of doing anything when you can't put through a good idea, even with the skills you may have. So, yeah, I would say try to tap into your subconscious mind, try to get those ideas and put them in play. They may not be the most unique ideas, but it is definitely like what you personally will like to hear, because that's like a part of your brain which you're not even aware of. Or, yeah, exactly. So, I feel like those ideas are the best for me. And that was the final point of the music production tips. And I know it's been a really long live stream. For the people who are seeing this later on, I hope this is entertaining for you. I don't know if it will be, but let's see. And now I'm just gonna keep answering questions. Hopefully, I can finish all of them, which I doubt. But yeah, we are setting the cutoff limit to 1 hour. I think that's good enough. Now another 8 minutes, so we'll get to questions right now. Hubcat, do you use headphones or speakers for producing and mixing? So I use both, a combination of both. I do end up making most of my like ideas and stuff on the speakers, and then I get to like mixing and mastering and stuff on my headphones because I feel that's more effective process. Sahardya, Anish, how can we convince our parents for pursuing a career in music production? Oof. Okay, so I didn't have to do that too much, so I don't know how exactly to answer that, but um, I don't know. You tell them that it makes you happy and you're passionate about it. I guess that should work. I don't know. I can't give you advice on this, unfortunately, and I don't want to give you wrong advice. So sorry, I don't know if I can answer that question since I didn't have that issue with my parents. So yeah, sorry. And I see the next comment itself also wanted to know that, but it's like it's really I can't really explain it, but yeah, as it's really hard to kind of change that mindset. But as long as you're passionate and you're rebellious and you know you want to do this, then I think it should pan out in the end. So yeah, next question. Let's start doing this slightly faster since we have less time. Is there any external plugins you use to master your track? Yeah, a bunch of external plugins. I used to use a lot of Ozone plugins. I still do use a bunch of Ozone plugins, and Ozone is doing a great job when it comes to like mixing and mastering. So yeah, I guess that counts as your external plugin. Yeah, keeps us stack the layers. Yeah, it's totally really important. And don't worry, for the people who come and see this later on, I will put a timestamp on each of the tips so you don't have to go through the entire video. And since I'm not making revenue off YouTube, unfortunately, because I was short by I think what maybe 30,000 minutes of playtime, I got demonetized, unfortunately. So you might see more of these live streams just so that I can get get my channel monetized again. But yeah, anyways, next question. Um, Okay, I've already answered this, but how do I send you demos? Is you send demos to promo@aneeshchengappa.com. Um, I'm afraid to type it in the comment section right now because my whole thing will scroll up. and then it would be impossible to find where I was at. Anyways, and I'm really sorry, I'm only answering the questions which are sent like almost half an hour back. So I'm really gonna try and answer different questions. I don't know. Do you guys want me to start answering the questions which are coming out right now? It's gonna be really hard to do. But I'm reading all of your comments, that's for sure. Um, all right, we just move on to the next, and I guess I'll push the limit more of the live stream just so I can get to each and every question. So yeah, how did you get noticed, or like your song got tagged as a Garrick's fake ID, because even that needs a bit of recognition. Did you just upload onto SoundCloud or how? Um, well, to get noticed, I got lucky with I think House Nation is what helped me get the recognition from Martin Garrix, but I'm not sure. It could not. It could be that he just heard it through Spotify or something like that. But honestly, I have still no clue how I got supported by Garrix and stuff. It could also be, as you said, because of that fake track which was uploaded on YouTube and tagged as Martin Garrix and Kygo, which was for Fruit Juice. Um, that he heard it from there. But whatever. I hope that answers your question. So next question is, do you mix on head? Okay, I've already answered that. How do you control peaks in your tracks waveforms? Yeah, so that I've answered that too, which is through compression, limiting, and stuff. It is obvious. I mean, what else do you do to control peaks? I mean, you could lower the volume too, which is also mixing in some sense. Oh wow! So Keeb is doing the job for me and answering some of your questions. And that's not a bad answer actually. You generally compress. So Keeb's answer is you generally compress using a multi-band compressor, and then you use a limiter to bring the volume up. Yeah, that's not a bad answer actually. So shout out to Keeb for that answer. How do you make money from music? You just said, is there a website or just YouTube? So yeah, I make money through distribution, which is like from Spotify, iTunes, all those from sales, and obviously from streams on Spotify itself, SoundCloud, YouTube. Unfortunately, just got demonetized, but I was making money off YouTube also, and not too much from YouTube actually. YouTube pays you very less as compared to like Spotify, but yeah, you do make money, and of course through doing shows and stuff, you will definitely make money. And so the next question is, what do you think of Brooks' mixing technique? So yeah, Brooks is doing a really good job, especially in layering. This guy is doing a madness in layering because he does so much layering and it sounds so clean, yet it's got this really grungy vibe to it. So yeah, Brooks is doing a really good job, and that's why he's got collaborations with like Martin Garrix and David Guetta and stuff. So yeah, he definitely deserves it. It's good to see someone like him get that recognition. Whew. I think I need to have some water before I get to the next question. So, Hellcat, do you have a manager? How do you get your gigs? Yes, so I do have a manager, like a bookings manager. His name is Ardhaman, and he runs the company called Night Vibe. So he manages me and gets me shows, and you know, if I need any external kind of promotion stuff, which I haven't kind of dabbled into with him, but if I do need, he has offered me that too. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. I'm gonna try and be faster so I can get to the questions which have just come. I feel like I should just skip and go through random questions. Is that something I should do? I don't know because I'm still reading questions which were sent to me half an hour ago. Oh, okay, let me see how many are there in total. Okay, so if we come all the way down here, yeah, okay, there's a bunch of questions, a bunch of people commenting, that's for sure. Alright, so I'm gonna go back up. Let's see. I think we're reaching the end of the questions list, hopefully. Why don't you produce progressive house? I do have one or two progressive house projects coming soon, so look out for that too. Um, how can I send you demos? Already answered that. I'm still confused whether to study. Okay. Will producing different genres help in finding your own style, or shouldn't do that? No, you should definitely do that. Try and produce different genres because that's exactly what I did. And I first started off with like deep house and progressive house and electro house and stuff. And then when I just finally decided I want to go to future house because I don't know, future house was something which really connected with me for some odd reason. When I finally decided to do that is when I started to make these really amazing projects which I didn't know I could make. So yeah, I would say definitely try to produce different genres, and it does help in finding your own style for sure. As long as you're influencing yourself with those different styles, you're understanding what you really want to do. Okay, so next question is, all right, we can scroll through a lot. It seems like there's just a bunch of questions here. All right. Um, what genre do I produce? Well, evidently from my music, I mostly produce future house, but I have produced a bunch of different projects before. Jason, when you gonna collab with you? When am I gonna collab with you? I heard you talked too many times with him. Yeah, Jason, we're still waiting to finish our collaboration, but I hope it happens soon. And yeah, let's see. It may come through sooner than you know. I'm just trying to get through all the releases, and I just keep coming up with new releases. It's just so hard to kind of give time to collaborations without that physical presence. So yeah, I think in the future we'll definitely get to it, man, for sure. 100% sure we're gonna have a collaboration someday. So next one is, whew, I'm just trying to find questions. What do you have to say about Brooks Base? Already said that. Um, I think we reached, yes, we finally reached the end of the list which was on here. So now I'm getting to the questions, if there are any, which were more recent as compared to the ones which I was answering like half an hour back. Um, Answer, who's your favorite DJ? Oh, okay, similar question. So yeah, favorite DJ. Um, well, I have too many like artists which I like a lot. So it's hard to answer that. But I would say Zed, and I've said this every single time. Zed is one of my favorite DJs of all time, I guess. So you could say Zed is one of my biggest inspirations, but yeah, I do have many others though. Um, Looking for another question. Please tell me about sidechain. Uh, well, what do I tell you about sidechain? I can only show you. So yeah, I mean, try to keep things more tight. Don't try to make the sidechain bigger than the kick itself, because then that's just gonna make this. I mean, you could do it as a style, but from if you're trying to produce like future house and stuff, usually the gap between the sidechain and the sounds itself is very small. So that way you have that thickness of the sounds itself with the punchiness of the kick, which I think future house has as a component in its genre altogether. So yeah, wow, okay, new questions are coming in really fast. Um, Brooks is hiding some tricks he uses. Those layers will build up mud. Um, no, I think he's pretty much on point with his layering. I think I saw one of his dance fair this things, sessions, and it seemed kind of fine. Yeah, I don't think he's hiding a thing. And it's just really hard to kind of match that because he's doing so many technical things and adding so many layers. He's doing a great job with this stuff. Anyways, um, how can you get more views on SoundCloud and YouTube? So yeah, I mean, for me, when I started out, I used to only get like 500 to 1,000 plays, maybe. No, when I was first starting out, I'd barely get even 20. But I'm saying like when I properly started making music and started to brand myself a little bit, is when I started getting like 500 to 1,000. And to get higher than that, I think all I did was kind of just kept sending my demos to people who are not too big, so they do end up listening to your songs. So channels which have like 20,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers, send it to them, and then gradually that's how I they kind of helped me out with my music, and that's how I became. That's how I got more plays on my SoundCloud and YouTube. So yeah, it's a good idea to send your songs to smaller channels which are promoting the music which you make, and yeah, just keep making more connections because those connections do end up helping you a lot. I know what a compressor is, how much, but how much I have to use it, I don't know. Help me. So compressor is used differently on every single project, so I don't know how I could answer that question right now. But yeah, don't over compress would be my answer to you. That's all. Because over compressing, which means basically that you set your threshold way too low and then you increase the gain too much, so then it just gets like distorted as hell. So don't do that. A lot of people end up doing that. What do you think about Mike Williams? So I think Mike Williams, I used to really like his style. I still do kind of, but I used to like the stuff which he did before. I think the only song which I kind of liked, and then after that I kind of didn't quite like all of his songs he made after that, was the collaboration with Tiesto. I forget what that's called. Mm, can't remember the name, but the collaboration with Tiesto is one of my favorite tracks of his. What do you think of Kashmir? He's also a really cool producer, but I'm not really that much into his music now. It kind of got repetitive for me. The style of his producing and the just the whole vibe altogether got really repetitive. So kind of got bored of his sound, but many people still enjoy that. And I'm not saying he's a bad producer. I'm just saying maybe some people are into that stuff so much that they listen to him. But I'm kind of bored of what he's doing now. So if he does more new stuff, maybe I'll like what he's doing. Why is Z the one you like? Because Z has this kind of one, his production techniques are really, really like um, something which really interests me because um, everything is so clear and it's really similar to something like what Skrillex does. So everything is so clear, yet there's so much stuff going on, and all his ideas are very complex and have so many different things going on at the same time. So that's one of the reasons I like Zed so much, is because he does so many things which are you know um, which really appeal to me, including the way he makes his breakdowns. He has his sounds come together, the different kind of melodies, the sounds, everything is amazing in his projects according to me. So that's why I like Zed so much. What do you think about Indian DJs? I think a lot of the industry out here is bought out. So I honestly I have not seen too many Indian DJs who are really good producers and DJs. Um, I'm not saying there aren't any. I'm just saying I haven't met too many. There are definitely a couple of people who are doing a really good job, but I haven't met too many. Is what I'm saying. Out of, like, if to give you an example, if there are let's say 50 DJs, only maybe 5 to 6 of them are really good producers and DJs, in my opinion. So yeah, of course you don't have to be a producer to DJ, but yeah, I feel like those things have, in this day and age, become a thing which you have to do, is to produce and DJ. But anyways, that is if you want to become big from producing or whatever. So next question, and I think we're gonna close the live stream in another 5 minutes. And I know I've already overextended my time from half an hour to almost 1.5 hours. And my audience is also lessening, so I'm guessing we are coming to the end of the live stream. So, last 3 questions, and then we're done. Will you consider doing more pop stuff? Yeah, I am actually going to be doing a lot more pop projects in the next few months with singers and stuff, because that is something I want to get into, but not like creating the typical pop stuff. I guess I will have my own element of uniqueness to it, so there will be something different going on. But yeah, you would call it pop because there'll be singing, and the singing will be the highlight along with the kind of simplistic background tunes. So yeah, I will be considering doing more pop projects. How did Future House music discover you? Yeah, so when I was talking about becoming like getting more plays and stuff, I did message them like my promo tracks and stuff, and that's how I got supported by them at one point. And the final question is, should I use subtractive EQ on other element when I'm boosting in one layer? So you don't necessarily have to do that, but it kind of depends on the sound you're using altogether. So yeah, I don't know how to explain that altogether, but um, it really does depend on the sounds you're using and whether they require it or not. So yeah, that should be the final question. Um, all right, fine. I'll do one more since it just came in from Aniket. How to get inspiration for your tracks? So I get inspiration from all the artists which I listen to, a bunch of artists, and you want to keep taking a couple of elements which you like from those tracks and try to kind of introduce it in your own style in your music, and that's how I kind of get inspiration for my tracks, is to kind of listen to the stuff which I really like to listen and kind of pinpoint the things which really you know gravitate towards me. So yeah, all right. So looks like that is all the questions. I got to literally, I don't know, maybe 50 questions, and we've gotten through all the tips which were here. So thank you so much for coming for this live stream. If you're still watching, like I don't know, maybe there's almost 17 people watching this still. So yeah, really, I appreciate all of you coming here and watching this live stream. I didn't think so many people would stay to watch it. And if you want me to do this again, message me on my Facebook page or whatever. And if you liked the way I did it with the the tips and the Q&A bit, so let me know about that. And yeah, thanks again for just coming here and seeing this live stream of mine. And hopefully, just hope that my YouTube channel gets monetized again so I can gain revenue from the videos like this. So yeah, thank you so much to every single soul who came and commented. I hope I answered your questions, and I'll see you next time on another YouTube live stream, hopefully soon. So yeah, let's end this now.